Today's topic in Random in Psychology is the psychoanalytic approach to personality. The psychoanalytic approach is associated with Sigmund Freud, who was born in 1856 and died in 1939. And it's also associated with those who followed him or felt that his theories were useful and important, just like Freud did. His theory has been one of the most influential theories because it was one of the first to actually try to explain everything. So before that, there were people who came along and said, I think this happens or I think this happens. But Freud was the first person to come along and say, like, look, I have the entire system developed, and this is what I think works in terms of how humans develop their personality throughout the lifespan. It was also rather controversial, and some people have very specific thoughts about it. One of those things is relating to his use of terminology. So he indicated that there was energy involved in this process, and the terms that he used have come to be associated with sexuality. And so, uh, unfortunately, when Freud's work was translated, some of the terms came out in the translation relating to sexual behaviors in the United States. And so a lot of people look at what he said and say things like, Freud thought babies wanted to have sex with their mom. And I'm like, no, no, they received pleasure from eating, which was, related to breastfeeding. And there was no like babies wanting to have sex with their mothers. But there's still lots of negative thoughts about Freud and Freud's theory. So his theory had two basic premises. First of all, innate drives are explanations for human behaviors, and that unconscious forces mold and shape our behaviors. He talked about the importance of early childhood experiences. He believed the most important aspects of personality were pretty much in place by the age of 7. He believed that our information, our feelings, wants, drives, and desires could be found at various levels of consciousness or levels of awareness. And so he had three levels of awareness that he talked about: the conscious, the preconscious, and the unconscious. So the conscious are mental events of which we're actively aware of at the moment. Preconscious are things that are not currently conscious, but can be made conscious at any time. So we can easily bring them into awareness. So they're kind of waiting in the wings type deal. And then unconscious are things that we are not aware of. We cannot easily become aware of, but they can still influence us. So he gave examples of the tip of the tongue or a slip of the tongue, what we call Freudian slips now. So when say things that you don't mean to say to people, that he believed was the unconscious influencing that. He believed that humor was people's way of being aggressive towards others in a socially acceptable way. Um, and he also believed that our unconscious thoughts and would come out in dreams as well. He believed that things from the unconscious can explain behaviors that are irrational and beyond description. So, for example, like, why are people so horrible to other people? Um, and he believed that most of our mental life is unconscious. So if you look at this image, which is the typical image that we see when we're relating to or reading about Freud's levels of consciousness, we see, here's the conscious, the preconscious, and then the unconscious, largely composing or making up our personality. So he also talked about specific instincts, which he talked about in terms of innate biological drives. And these are inborn impulses that rule our personalities. So he talked about two, the life instincts, which are the impulses for survival. So they motivate our sexual behaviors, our hunger, our thirst, and the energy that drives those life instincts, he called the libido. Death instincts are impulses for destruction. If we turn them inward, then they may cause us to experience depression or be suicidal. If we turn them outward, they may result in aggression towards other people. Freud believed that pretty much our life is an attempt to resolve conflicts between these two instincts. So that is your random in psychology for today, and I will see you tomorrow.